Enjoying this event. One is in the Zoom room, which is where many of you are right now, and we also have people watching this stream through various social media platforms like Facebook, YouTube, etc. If you want to stay where you are, that's fine. Otherwise, if you want to jump into the Zoom room, it's a bit more fun because you can chat, and we'll be sharing what we're learning in the chat section. So just head to businessblueprint.com/Zoom and jump into the Zoom room if you're not already there. Okay, and yeah, we've got some amazing interviews coming up. Just check the website and you'll see a full schedule of the events. But right now, it's my pleasure to introduce Brian Chapman. And Brian's, he'll tell you all about his business in a few moments' time, but he's going to be sharing with us his phenomenal story of how he built his business from nothing to now having produced, I think it's now close to $17 million in online sales. So he'll be sharing with you basically the secrets to his success. So I'm going to ask a whole bunch of questions, and if you have a question as well, I'd love for you to type it into the Zoom chat box, and then if we get some time at the end, we'll try to unmute some people and you can ask your question directly to Brian. So if you think of any questions as we go through this presentation, then please put them into the chat. The other thing I'd like you to do with the chat as well is to type in your biggest lessons or takeaways, or anytime you get a gem from Brian or some type of point, then I want you to grab that and put it into the chat, and it'll be a bit of a running summary of all of the things that we learned together during this presentation. So in the chat, I want you to be sharing takeaways and some of your favorite points, and also if you have questions as well, pop them in there and we'll do our best to try and answer some of those questions at the end. Brian Chapman, thanks so much for joining us.
Happy to be here with you, Dale.
Thank you.
I've got my floral shirt on for International Women's Day.
Looks great. Looks very good. And
Yes.
do you want to tell us a bit about your business? And that's the other reason why you've got some florals on
That's
as well.
right. I've got to have some gardening in there.
Yep.
Well, previous to this, I joined Business Blueprint as a photographer and had a photography studio, and I'd ran that for about 20 years and achieved a good level of success with that. And then I got to the stage where I was like, I really want to do something else. And so I started looking about opportunities and came across this product called a power planter. And if you haven't heard one of these, I don't know where you've been, because we've been saturating the advertising with them. So a power planter is a auger, so like a spiral that goes on the end of your cordless drill, and you use it to dig your garden. And I can tell you, if you've used one, you will know why I'm smiling, because it works so well. And as soon as I used it at our place, I thought, why haven't we had this for the last 20 or 30 years in Australia? Why have we been using a mattock and a spade and a fork and trying to dig the ground when there's an easier way? And so we decided to bring that product to Australia and promoted it heavily on Facebook, and it really took off.
So tell us about, before you even went into this business, because you had a previous business, the photography business, I know that when you started this, you had a list of I suppose, things that were important to you, like your dream business. Just run us through what were the things that you maybe didn't like about your previous business, and what got you excited about this new opportunity in the e-commerce space.
Yeah, so I want to say because I had the photography business and that was doing really well and it was taking all my time, but I wanted to do something different. And so I thought I'd start a side business. And so I had no intention of this becoming my full-time job. I thought I'll sell a few power planters on the side for a bit of fun, try something different. And so having that mentality was different to running the photography business, because in the photography business, that was my bread and butter. So every decision I made had to be really thought well out. I couldn't take too many risks. Everything had to look great. We had to look after our customers. With this business, I'm like, well, it was just a hobby. And so I was a bit more adventurous with it. So I wrote down a list of all the things that I wanted in a business if I was going to start again. And that is, I wanted to be able to run it from anywhere in the world. I wanted to be able to just use a laptop. I didn't want to have to deal with customers like face-to-face, because my previous business was very high contact face-to-face and dealing with people and making them feel beautiful. And I wanted a business that I could grow and expand, and it didn't rely on me having to do all the work.
And you also wanted a business that you didn't have to make the product was
That's
already
right.
made, right?
The product was made. I just wanted to sell something. That was really important. So yeah, that's how we ended up in e-commerce and how we designed this business.
So you found this product. It was only available in America.
Yeah.
And you had to basically, get the product shipped and looked around. It wasn't available for sale. So how did you then secure the rights to be able to sell this product exclusively?
Yeah. So a lot of people ask me this question because when they discover a product, they really want to protect it and they want to have exclusivity in our kind of country or the area you're selling. And I want to encourage you with this is that don't go for exclusivity straight away. Don't try and get the rights for it straight away. Earn some respect with the person that you're wanting to get the product from. So initially, we didn't ask for anything. I just gave the owner of Power Planter a lot of praise about his product because it was an excellent product. I commented about how I'd checked out the competitors and that the quality wasn't as good. And so basically just showing respect to them before I started asking for anything. And then I said what we're going to do, how I think we're going to give it a go in typical Australian style. I think they actually sent me some product for free. That's how well the first conversation went. They ended up sending me probably $1,000 worth of product free. And then I then started creating videos and we started a website and then we started selling them. Then we placed our first order with them. I think it was about $5,000. And that was about 5 years ago. And now, of course, we spend a lot more with them than that.
Yeah, wow. So tell us a bit about the website, how you kind of got started with that. So you came from a photography background. So going into selling a gardening product, did you have a list of people that you'd already kind of built up, or did you have to really build a list from scratch?
Yeah, we had nothing. So photography-wise, two totally different market segments. So I couldn't, sell this product to my photography customers. So we had to totally start from scratch.
So I just wanted to make sure that you've got that point that Brian did this really from kind of like a standing start with no product at the beginning. He imported the product and no list. So that's this kind of starting point. So if you've got no product and no list, then you're exactly where Brian was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And now we're going to talk about what happened next. So tell us about this website that you put together. Did you have any background in website design or development? How did you get this website built? And then we're going to talk about how you created your audience and started driving traffic and how you started making your first sales.
Yeah. So look, we had a website with a photography business, and so it was my job to look after that. So I had a little bit of knowledge in that, but no kind of coding knowledge. It was just a drag and drop type editor. And I remember I spoke to you and I spoke to a few other people in Business Blueprint and said, look, which platform should we go with if we wanted to start selling some product? And Dale said Shopify, another person said Shopify, another person said Shopify, and so we just went with Shopify. We didn't look at any other platforms. We didn't go, I'm going to analyze this for 3 weeks and try and work out which one's the best one. We just went with it. And I don't regret that decision at all. And so I then started looking up videos on how you set up a Shopify store. And really, we had no idea. So we were just totally winging it. I remember when we recorded our first video at the back of my house. I had no script, I roped my sons into recording it. It was very ad-lib, and I just went with it. I said, let's just try this. I'm gonna just try talking about this product. We recorded a 5-minute video. I think we did it in one take, 5-minute video, and that video was the one that launched all the Power Planter sales.
Wow, that's amazing.
Now, I just need to interrupt, would I have done that with photography business? No, because I would have been so careful about planning everything out and making sure all the details were correct and the fonts and everything else were matching. And so, yeah, I wouldn't have taken action.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that point at the beginning, that you approach this as a hobby business and just being playful and just like, I'm not going to overthink, I'm not going to overanalyze, I'm just going to do it, get it done. We have a mantra in Business Blueprint, progress is better than perfection, and just all about taking action, because if you take action, you get feedback quickly and you can kind of learn, and then you can just start to quickly improve. All right, so you put up the website, you made some videos. What did you do with those videos? And when did you make your first sale? How long did you have to wait?
Okay, the first sale, I remember this. I remember taking a photo at the front of my house holding the first Power Planter that was being posted out. It was so exciting. Now, nobody knew about the power planter. There was no competitor product. So it wasn't like you could say, well, it's like or it's similar to this product here. There wasn't anything. So you had to bring a new concept to people, a new way of digging. And so the best way we could do that was basically interrupt marketing. And so that was using Facebook. So people were browsing Facebook, we would have a video on there that would show them this crazy tool, this bald guy in the garden demonstrating this tool that's digging the garden easily, and it was interrupting them from their Facebook viewing. And hopefully enough that they watch the rest of the video, or at least click through to the website and maybe consider buying.
Great. So you started with Facebook. How did you learn about how to market on Facebook, and what are some of the things that you did kind of well at the beginning to start to get that traction?
Yeah. So Facebook marketing, I have to say, is quite challenging. It is very challenging. That's why I have no hair. I learned a lot of it through Business Blueprint. So you guys had a series of videos on there. So I watched that. You had a few speakers that came in that were specifically about Facebook marketing. And so I took what I learned, what they were presenting, and I started applying that to what we were doing. Again, I didn't question it too much. I just went with it. And I started seeing results. And then I thought, okay, I need to learn more, looking at other sources as well. I started looking at YouTube, and there's another guy called Ezra Firestone who's really good with Facebook marketing. And so I started learning from different areas to see if I can grow my knowledge of how to market on Facebook. Initially, look, were we great at it? Probably not. You know, some of those videos I look back on now, I just go, okay, it's a bit embarrassing.
But you took action.
But I took action, and we got sales. And I remember when we first launched this, for the men in the room who are married, you'll know this kind of feeling, is that you've got your little project and your wife's not so sure about your little project. And she's kind of thinking, I wish you would stop doing that and come and help me in the business like you're meant to be doing. And so I was desperately wanting at least one power planter sold, because up until that point, I was the only one that was excited about this product. And I remember it was about 3 days in after our ads were running, the first order came through. And at that point, it actually felt like we had just made $1 million right then. Because I was like, see, it is good.
It works.
It works. And then the second day, I think there was no sales, so that was a bit of a hit. And then the third day, I think there was 5 sales, and then 6 sales, and it continued to grow. And I think the end of month 2, I think we had hit 25,000 in sales for the month. And then I think month 3, 50,000, and it just kept growing. And I multiplied this out, and I'm going, because our photography business was doing about 10K a week, so 500K a year. And so I know I'm jumping the gun a bit, but I went, if we've just hit $10,000, or what should I say, $50,000 for the month, that's the same as my photography business is doing. And so I started thinking, oh, do I really need to do the photography business anymore? And 3 months, only 3 months I think it was, after starting Power Planter, my wife and I had a conversation for half an hour, and I said, I think we should go with this. And she just went, okay. And we just jumped in. And so we decided to close our photography business of 20 years and then jump into this and took the risk. And that's the entrepreneurial risk factor.
Yeah, and I know that when you really kind of focus, sales just skyrocketed. Because I can remember seeing a post that you put in our Facebook group. It was 7 months and 14 days since you started. You'd hit $1 million in sales, which is phenomenal. And then in under 12 months, it was like, before it was a million, and then a couple of months later it was 2 million. So it was kind of starting to grow exponentially. So $2 million in sales in under a year. A lot of people will be watching this going, how did you do it? What would be 3 or 4 things that you could mention that contributed to your success?
Well, we just kept advertising. So we kept running video ads because we found that was the most effective way. We then set up remarketing campaigns. So if we just go into the structure of Facebook ads a little bit.
Please.
So you basically have your top of funnel ads. And so they're the ones that are going out to people who don't know you. And so we nickname that TOFU, top of funnel, okay? And then you have your middle of funnel ads, which is the people who have watched that video or watched part of it but haven't visited the website. So you run ads to them, different ads. And then we have bottom of funnel ads, and they're the ones that are going to people who have watched the video, clicked the link, gone to your website, they've interacted but still haven't bought. And so we would run 3 separate campaigns to basically collect people. So the top of funnel would be running with this video. The middle of funnel might be, say, testimonials from customers who are saying that this product's great. And then the bottom of funnel might be an offer. So if they've gone to the website, they've looked at it, but they haven't bought, something stopped them. Maybe it was the price. And so then we would add, say, a discount code on the bottom of funnel. And so that's how you should set up your Facebook ads. A little tip for you if you want to go with that one. And that was probably a significant key to how we grew fast.
Yeah, beautiful. So let's just quickly capture that. So there's 3 different aspects when it comes to your marketing: top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. And Brian classified them as people that have never heard of you before. They're top of funnel. Then middle of funnel is people that have heard of you, so meaning they've watched one of your ads up here, they've engaged with you, but they have not come to the website yet. So they're kind of like, stuck in between these 2 different levels, and we want to move them through our funnel. And then you've got the bottom of funnel, and we kind of nickname these. This is top of funnel is tofu, then mofu, and then bofu as well for top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. So you had these ads kind of like working and starting to get results. And then tell me about though the remarketing, because that's something that is kind of like the lowest hanging fruit of all. People are having traffic coming to their website, but most people, probably 90% of people, do not have any form of remarketing whatsoever. If you did not have remarketing, what would that do to your sales?
Well, the remarketing is actually probably where we make a lot of the profit, because the top of funnel marketing is actually really expensive, because you're throwing a net out to a cold audience that doesn't know you, and so most of the time you're going to miss.
Yeah.
You're not going to hit the target. Whereas remarketing is people that have shown that I actually am interested, but there was some obstacle that stopped me from making that purchase. Maybe it was because they weren't sure about our company. Maybe it was because the price was too high. Maybe they thought that they didn't have the right drill, or they wouldn't be strong enough to use the product. So remarketing is about providing social proof. So that might be reviews from customers. It might be, like we have a video, for example, that shows how to use the power planter to mix your compost bin. And so it's showing an extra use for the product. So for sometimes that can be enough to get people over the line, because they want to buy it for this, and then you say, hey, you can also use it for this, and they go, all right, I'm getting it. And so we had to rely on that method over and over again.
Yeah, I know for some clients they've said that about 50% of their revenue comes from their remarketing ads, and only the other part comes from their kind of cold marketing. But remarketing is just so important, and I think that more people need to set it up.
Remarketing is also important
even for service-based businesses, right? It's not just for product-based.
And I was just also thinking about, because we advertise in magazines as well now, so we've broadened our marketing efforts, so it's not just Facebook. So we advertise in magazines and on TV shows and things. People are coming to your website, so they're not coming via a top of funnel Facebook ad, they're coming via, I guess, a top of funnel printed or traditional media. And so then you can remarket to those people as well, because they've visited your website, and then you can say, show them more evidence, show them more social proof.
Yep. That's great. Now you've just talked about the diversification, because you've now got Facebook ads are still running, and would it be one of your biggest channels for sales still?
So Facebook's still like the most important for us. It just seems to be the one that works for us. But I hate spending so much money on it.
Yeah.
It's like we spend a lot. We spend a few thousand a day on Facebook ads.
Yeah.
And I know some people would be going, what? But if you're getting a return, it's okay to spend a few $1,000s a day. It's when you don't get a return that you go, oh, I just lost that money.
Yeah.
And so I think you've got to be careful of that. So 5 years into this business, I'm really trying to diversify more and get away from Facebook and start using other channels more to bring people in.
So with regards to Facebook, and then we'll talk about some others in a moment, how do you know if you're getting a return on investment? I know that there's certain acronyms that people use to measure return on ad spend. Do you want to quickly share with you your metrics? So if you were going to say spend $1,000 on marketing on Facebook, how much should you be generating in returns?
Great. I love talking about numbers, because a lot of the times people don't divulge their numbers and say what's happening. So generally, if you're going to go into e-commerce, if that's what you're here for, and Dale taught me this initially, and I was a bit shocked. He said to me, when you're pricing a product, you need to have about a 3 times markup on the product. 3 or 4 times markup. So you're buying the product, let's say you're selling it for $100, you're buying it for $25, or you're buying it for $33. because you need to have enough buffer in there to cover the high cost of the ads and then all your overheads to make a profit and everything else as well. And I'm so glad early on that when we were pricing the power planter, we just ignored the prices in the US and we just went with, I think, 3 or 4 times markup so that we had enough profit to be able to continue that.
Yes.
And then with ads, if you think the same way, so if I spend $1 on ads, how much do I want to get back in sales? Okay. So sometimes I've seen on the marketing guys, they'll say, if you get $1 in, $2 out, you're making money, you know, you're living the dream, and you're not. You're not.
No.
If you're selling maybe a service or a information product that hasn't cost you much, then maybe that can work. But for us, we need to be putting $1 in and getting $4 out in order to be profitable. If we get more than $4 out, then we're making a lot more profit. So that's a huge metric that we've got to pay attention to all the time. Some days we're only hitting like 2.2 return on ad spend. So $1 in, $2.20 out. And then we don't make a profit on those days. And now other days we'll do better.
What would be a good day in terms of return on ad spend?
So across all of our campaigns, we're averaging somewhere around that 4 mark, a little bit below. It varies depending on what's happening on the website. So if we've got sales on, things are on discounted, generally that's going to mean your return on ad spend is going to be up because people are more likely to buy. At different times of the year, a little bit seasonal because we're in the garden space, so September and summer is a prime time, whereas in the middle of winter, it's going to be hard to get a high return on ad. So sometimes in winter we have to turn the ads off and not just waste money on them because we're not getting the return.
Now it's really important to make sure that you diversify with regards to your marketing. I always say this to my clients, you need to have at least 4 ways of generating leads. Like every good chair has 4 legs and your marketing needs to have at least four legs. Otherwise, if you've got 2 or 3, you could fall over at any time. So how have you been able to diversify? I know you've got into traditional media, but also I see your ads on Pinterest and other places as well. So where do you advertise now apart from Facebook?
Yeah, so we're doing on Google. The key thing with Google is search-based, so people are showing intent to find something. So if they're looking up, for business training, they go to Google and they find Business Blueprint. Whereas Facebook is interrupt marketing, and so they're doing something else and you're placing an ad. A bit like on television, how television ads are interrupt marketing. You're not intending to find that business when you watch that television show. Then we use Pinterest. I particularly like Pinterest. I love just spending time on that. It's like reading the magazine without actually having to read. You can just look at the pictures. People are in a relaxed and an inspired state when they're on Pinterest. So you've got to create pins, as they call them, that are going to inspire people to take action and do something. So we get some good traffic from Pinterest. We run ads in the gardening magazines. There's a few gardening magazines, key ones in Australia, so we run ads there. We also do some work with television shows where we've paid to have like a product placement in a television show. So we've done that a couple of times as well. We've done ones where I've gone in and we've done a little garden makeover at someone's home and then showed using the products during the garden makeover.
And it's been really good to diversify into other ways of generating.
And radio is another good one as well. So you've got to think about where your market is. So if you've got a very young market, well then certainly, on TikTok or on some of the other platforms, Insta, probably not so much Facebook, that's where your market is. But if your market that you're selling to is probably 40 plus, don't rule out the traditional media because that's where the 40 plus are still using that. So they still like the radio, they still like talkback radio, they still like watching television. Whereas for a lot of the younger people, they're going, who watches television anymore?
And the other thing you've done though is you've always sort of test and measure as much as you can, right? In terms of seeing what's working and what's not.
Yeah, so what we'll try and do is we might create a special offer in the magazine, or we might use a dedicated website domain, or our sales guy, when he's taking phone calls, he'll ask people how they heard about us as well. So we're generally trying to see where's that traffic coming from. It's harder to measure than it is on Facebook, definitely, but we still try and get feelers. Where did that come from?
Great. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is leveraging the power of your list. So over time, you did grow a list from people that were buying and people that were checking out your products as well. Because I know you wrote an article for us, and one of the things you said is there's way more gold in your list than you think. So tell us a bit about why it's so important to grow your list and how you've been able to leverage your list so you don't have to be as reliant on paid ads.
Yeah. So that article that you're talking about, you might want to post the link.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of wisdom in it, because I think about it and I go, I should apply that more and I wrote it. So, but I'm thinking I should have grown my list faster at the start. So initially I was relying purely on Facebook ads to get our sales, and it was working. We were getting sales, but we were dishing out a lot of money. What I should have been doing was actually creating a community or creating value so that people stick with us and then they buy other products in the future. So our email list now is huge, and we really rely on it. So now I can send an email out and it'll bring in like $20,000 in sales from a single email. And so that is a key part of our business. And so what we're doing now, because there's always things that you can learn in hindsight, you can do better. And so we're trying to produce more content. We're trying to grow our community more so that people don't unsubscribe from our email list, because we know that's where there's a lot of money there.
So this is the article that Brian wrote for us. If I can get the team, there they go. We just posted it into the chat. At the time, this was about 12 months ago, I think. It was $13 million. Now it's close to $17 million in terms of e-commerce sales. There's a question that's come in. What platform do you use for sending emails?
Yeah, so there's lots of different email platforms. The one we use is called OmniSend. It's a Shopify-based platform. It might be on the others as well, but it's a dedicated one for sending email campaigns and automations out to people.
And I know Klaviyo is another popular one as well.
Yeah.
So this is specifically for e-commerce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went with OmniSend early on. It was a little bit cheaper than Klaviyo, and they were a new company and they looked promising, and so I've just stuck with them. If I started again, I'd probably go with Klaviyo because they're more compatible with other software. OmniSend's still good though, so if you're with OmniSend, they're worth sticking with.
So I think the key there is to really make sure that yes, you need to be focused on sales. Sales are important. However, you need to make sure that you're thinking long term as well and building that list. And if you think about it like a community of people that get to know you, like you, trust you over time, and are constantly plugged in to your communication because you're always adding value, then when it comes time to creating an offer or selling a product, they're going to be a lot more responsive from you. So you need to make sure that you're thinking about not just the short-term sales, but also just long-term building that following as well. So any quick tips around email marketing that you might want to quickly share? Anything that you kind of think's worked for you?
Okay, so in email marketing, generally the software is going to have two areas. You're going to have the campaign area and you're going to have the automations area. And so campaign is when I send out like this product's on sale, or we've just released this tutorial and so on. The automation section is when, say, send up for a lead magnet. So a lead magnet is where you give something away generally for free that has high perceived value to your audience in return for them giving you their name and their email address. So in our business, that was a vegetable growing class. So we wanted to teach people how to grow veggies at home. And so they could sign up for the free veggie classes on our website, and then they would get an automated email sequence after that. And so that's where the automation comes into it. So an email will go out, a minute after they've signed up, and then probably another 40 minutes later to follow up after they've watched the first episode, and then 2 days later, and then another day later, and so on. And so it's really important that you use those two areas in the email software.
Okay, that's awesome. Now, I also want to touch on how you kind of like learn a lot of these skills. So we've known each other for 6-7 years now, maybe more. Yeah.
Yes.
And so why did you join Business Blueprint at the beginning, and how has it helped you to grow your business?
Probably like most of you, you're probably reading business books, and that's what I was doing all the time. So I'd be constantly learning business books. And one book would say this, another book would say that, and then a lot of the books was a lot of fluff with very little content in them. And you think, I've spent all that effort and I really am confused and I don't know what to do next because there's all these different options. What's the next step? And I went along to one of the Business Blueprint days, like an intro day. It was a freebie day that day I was speaking at. And I just sat there as a sponge and just took it all in. And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing that. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm definitely not doing that. And so I found all these different things that I'm going, I could do this and I could do that. But I have to say, 3/4 of the way through the day, I'm going, I have no idea what to do next. And when you put the offer out and said, okay, this is the program, this is what we do, we guide you in what to do next, I'm like, that's what I needed to hear. And so at the time, like, you know, the commitment, the financial commitment was a lot. And it's a big hit for a small business to outlay that. And I was thinking about this, because I wanted to talk about this on the way here. And I was like, my boys have gone through private schooling, and I've spent, I think it's $16K a year on their private schooling. And I haven't questioned it. I've gone, yep, I want them to have private schooling. But have I had the same mentality for me? Have I had private schooling? And so that's what Business Blueprint is. It's like your private schooling, but it's niche. There's no fluff. There's no, you know, excess baggage. It's like the information you need to grow your business. And then for you guys coming in now, like I started it 6 or 7 years ago. Now there is so much more content than there was 6 or 7 years ago. I don't know how many videos there are, but there is so much. Any topic you can think of is in the My Business Blueprint area, isn't it?
Yeah, we now have more than 2,500 step-by-step training videos that are available to members. And we have so many checklists and tutorials, and we have flowcharts and systems for pretty much everything. So we call our business Blueprint for a reason, because that's really our focus, is giving you the blueprints for business success. So there is just so much value in what we offer. And if you're a business owner that wants to grow, that wants to go on to make hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars like Brian and others have done, I'd love to get to know you and set up a time to have a chat. So the next step is to go to this website right now. It is businessblueprint.com/apply. That's businessblueprint.com/apply. Just fill out the form there with some basic information. And then on the next screen, you'll be able to download some information that goes through exactly what's in the Business Blueprint program and what you receive. And the value is huge. And there is now 3 different levels of membership. So there's something for everyone. Even people that are just getting started, we can help. And then we also can help well-established businesses as well to grow from wherever you are right now to wherever you want to be in the future. And then there you can also set up a time for us to chat, and we can get to know each other and then take the next step if it's right for you. So right now we are doing an intake for our program, and we do have limited places of people that we work with, so you need to make sure that you take action now during this special launch. So if you've already done so, great. I know we've been speaking to lots of people in the last 24 hours, and we've got heaps more people to chat to tomorrow and on Thursday as well. So time is running out. You need to take action. Go to businessblueprint.com/apply. So Brian, a few more quick questions I've got for you. In your article, one of the other headlines that I really liked was flirt with more people. That was one of your tips. So for people that haven't read the article, what does that one mean?
I'm not sure now.
Do you need me to refresh you?
Please do.
All right, so it's in the article. Flirt with more people. So I think this is about the diversification, right?
Okay.
That you got pretty dependent on Facebook,
Yes.
and you needed to have some other ways of generating leads. So you mentioned you're doing YouTube, Pinterest, Bing and Yahoo, magazines, and radio. So that one's more about diversification. So I think we've probably already covered that one. Another one is suppliers can't count. Tell us.
But flirt with more people.
Tell us about this one. Suppliers can't count.
Oh, yes. So we import from America, and we import from China and Australian suppliers. And here's a little tip for you, is that when stock arrives at your warehouse, check it. Make sure you actually check that the stock is all there. The amount of times that we've got stock in and we count it and we find the numbers are totally out, totally wrong. So to give you an example, Power Planter in the US, you know, we bought, say, $30,000 worth of stock. This is further into the business. And we're checking it off that it's arrived, and he had sent a whole extra pallet of stock, and it wasn't on the invoice. And business ethics is important to me, and so we let him know, and we said, look, hey, you've sent this extra pallet here. Did you mean it there? And he appreciated that. And I bring that up as an example because look after your suppliers. Like, do the right thing by them, and they will do the right thing by you, which we've needed to call on them at certain times where we haven't been able on time because things have happened and we've had too much stock and not enough cash flow. And so always look after your suppliers and show honesty early on. And so for that, I think that was, a $5,000 difference to them.
Yeah.
$5,000 they would have lost if we hadn't have told them. I can't remember what it was, but it was a lot of money.
But you've made it back in terms of the flexibility, in terms of them supporting you when you've had cash flow issues. If you had to delay payments, then
we've had another product I can think of at the moment where it came in bundles of 30, and we kept running out of this product, and we're like, I thought my warehouse staff were basically messing up and sending the wrong product out, or sending too many of them out. And then we discovered one day that when we counted the bundle, because it was hard to count this particular product, there was only 20 in the bundle. So on the outside of the package, it says 30. On the inside, there was 20. And so for like 2 years, we've been ordering this product thinking there was 30 in there, and there was only 20 in there. And so of course that screwed up all the numbers all along. And so we're always running out of this product. So check things. I'm amazed at the amount of times it's been wrong.
And we talked about diversification of marketing. You've also now diversified in terms of products as well.
Yes.
So tell us about how you've gone from just one hero product to now having a whole entire mega store, in a way, of lots of different products to serve your niche.
Yeah, like it's really exciting now because now we changed our brand to Aussie Gardener at the start of COVID. And the reason why is initially we were branded as Power Planter because I wanted to make sure that Power Planter, the name of the product, became really well known. I didn't want to confuse it by saying, Power Planter sold by Aussie Gardener. I just wanted to go straight to the point, Power Planter. And so we reached a point where we're going, okay, people know what a Power Planter is now, but now we want to sell a whole range of other products, and we can't do that under the umbrella of Power Planter because that's the US brand's name. And so we changed over to the brand name of Aussie Gardener. And so now we've got over 200 products, ranging from fertilizers to propagators to tools, aprons, lots of different things. Here's another tip for you, I guess, for e-commerce. And this is a process we've gone through, is that try and find new products that you can add to your mix. You might buy them from wholesalers, say in Australia. And if they start to take off and you're seeing progress with that particular product, then you go, okay, we're ordering this in enough quantity, it's worthwhile now for us to start getting it manufactured directly. And that's where you would say find suppliers in China through Alibaba or going over to visit the Canton Fair, which I've done, mind-boggling. And so that you can get a higher markup. Because if you buy products from wholesalers in Australia, generally the most markup that you'll have is like 100%. So, you buy it for $50, you sell it for $100. And so that's going to be hard to have enough money to spend on ads if your ads are costing, say, 25%. And so you want to be able to try and get the product for $25 rather than $50, and you can do that by directly sourcing from China.
Awesome. Okay, what we're going to do is give you the opportunity now to ask Brian any question that you want about his business. He's been very generous and open with his numbers and shared with you the wins, but also some of the challenges as well with this style of business. So please type in, actually just type in the word question please or pick me. Either one of those two is fine. And what we'll do is we'll pick you, or we'll know that you have a question. We're going to get you to unmute your microphone. You can talk directly with Brian and ask him your question. So I see that there's one that's come in now from Dr. Peter Ellis, PhD. It says here, were the products sent to you and redistributed, or are they sent straight from the manufacturer to the customer, also I think known as drop shipping? Do you want to answer that question?
Yeah, so we don't do drop shipping. There's not enough profit margin in it generally. So we have our own warehouse in Northwest Sydney. We were using a 3PL, so that's a third-party order fulfillment. So that's where you have all your products housed in a warehouse along with other companies, and then that service then packs your orders and sends them out. So that's called the sell. And so we used that for about 9 months or 12 months. It was okay, but there was some mistakes with orders and everything else. And we got to the stage where we were like, I want to be able to add extra things into the package. I want to be able to change things up. And it was quite inflexible to be able to do that with the 3PL. And so we ended up getting our own warehouse and doing it in-house.
Okay, great. Terry has a question here. So can we please unmute Terry?
Thanks, Dale.
In just a moment, you'll be speaking directly to Brian, and we'll get you to ask your question. So we're just asking you to unmute now.
Thanks, Brian.
Terry,
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go for it.
Thank you. I'm really intrigued, Brian. Could you help us how to track the return on investment in all your different marketing that you're doing, Facebook, ads on TV? How do you actually track all those channels to get an accurate return on investment with your spend?
Yeah, so I use spreadsheets to do it, so Google Sheets. So Facebook makes it fairly easy because it will tell you each conversion that it got. So conversion is when someone buys the product. So it'll say to you, I got 50 conversions today. Each conversion cost, say, $25. The return on ad spend is 4 times, which means that the average sale was $100 because the ad was $25, 4 times that is $100. So Facebook tells you that data. So I grab that data and I bring that into a spreadsheet. It's just a manual process. And then I grab data from Google, I grab data from Pinterest, and I bring it all in. And then I look at my email program and it tells me that that email earned, $20,000 in sales. And so I bring that in as well. And then when you put it all together, now I can't measure the magazines directly unless I'm using dedicated links or discount codes, right? But if I haven't got that luxury, what I'm doing is going, okay, well, Facebook, Google and whatever got this much of that day's sales. Therefore, the rest of that has to come from either repeat customers, email and printed media. So it's not 100% accurate, but that's the best I can kind of think of as a way to do it.
Really good question. Thanks so much, Terry. Appreciate that. Okay, there was someone, let's just scroll back up for just a moment, about exporting. Any tips on exporting? So we just talked about importing, but any tips around exporting? Have you done that yet?
No, I haven't done that. So I can't really comment on that one, I'm afraid. But look, people said importing was going to be hard, and it is challenging, but it's not that hard. You just learn step by step. The first time we imported, I had no idea. This is how naive I was. I had no idea that when products come in from America, they're going to have to go through customs and you're going to have to pay a whole lot of fees when it comes in, and you're going to have to pay GST when it comes in as well. I just had no idea. I was naive. And so I got sent a bill and I'm like, oh, okay, wasn't expecting that, but all right. And so then the next time it happened, I'm like, okay, I'm expecting it now. And so you just learn as you go. Just give it a go.
So another question was around email marketing. So the 2 programs that were mentioned are specifically for e-commerce businesses. But if you're not an e-commerce business, then you can do a lot of this really cool automated marketing with using a system like Ontraport or another one called Active Campaign. Yeah. So we have training videos basically covering all the different options that are out there. And when you work with us, we'll get to know you and your goals and your business and then make the right recommendations for you. And by the way, when we started Business Blueprint, we only had a very small of members that were running e-commerce businesses. But over the last 2 years, because of COVID, that number has now grown to about 15 to maybe even close to 20% of our clients now have some form of an e-commerce business. And so what we're now doing at our conferences and events that we're running is we almost have 2 streams now. We have a stream for service-based businesses, and we also have another stream for product and e-commerce based businesses as well. And And what I do is I bring in amazing speakers that have built multi-million-dollar e-commerce companies to share with our members how they can grow and increase their sales. So, Brian, if you could just quickly touch on some of the conferences and events that we run. Like we've had some amazing speakers over the last 5 years. So tell us, what do you love about the events and also the community of Business Blueprint? What makes it so special?
Yeah, so I've been in it a while, so kind of know it all now, and not know the content, but know the whole process. And it's good just to be around entrepreneurs. Like, entrepreneurs are exciting people. They've got big dreams. They're planning always for the future. They're optimistic. And so if you're hanging around that type of person, you can't help it. It's contagious. You want to do big things as well. And so it's the community aspect of being around people, naysayers, because I know what it's like when you're in business. Sometimes your family is not the most encouraging all the time. My family's great, by the way, but I'm just saying, sometimes they like don't want to hear about it. They don't want to talk about business. Whereas at Business Blueprint, you can. And you can share your wins. You can tell people, hey, we just hit $1 million, and people will cheer you on. They won't go, oh, good for him, that kind of tall poppy syndrome that we get in Australia. So I think that's a really, really important part of it. I think the way Dale's mind works is a key as well. So if you don't know Dale yet, what he's really good at is taking something that's complex and breaking it down and then teaching it to you in a way that you understand it. And I really admire that about him, because that's not something that I'm good at. I'm a creative, and so my mind's going here and here and here and here, and then he will go, no, let's systemize that. How do we make a process of how that's going to happen? And so you've done that with the all the blueprints that are available in there. So blueprint is like a flow chart to tell you how to do things in business. Yeah. And then the conferences as well, like the speakers you are bringing in, these are top quality speakers. Like, they're funny, they're entertaining, the content's top level, and a lot of them are workshop based, so you're actually doing stuff at the conference. You're actually taking action and doing stuff right there. Yeah. So look, it's been excellent.
And so if someone was thinking about joining the program, what would your advice be to them?
Yeah. The only reason you shouldn't join the program is if you want to close your business. But then even if you want to sell it, you should join the program to learn how to sell your business.
That's true.
Because he teaches that as well. Look, I think it's a must. It's very hard. Running a business is lonely. It's lonely because you can't talk to many people. Yep. You can't really talk to you if you've got staff. You can't really talk to your staff, about the actual strategy and things like that a lot of the time. And so I think you need to be around people that have that entrepreneurial mindset that are going to keep pushing you forward. So my suggestion is find a way to be able to afford to sign up.
Awesome. Now, what's next for Aussie Gardener? What's the future look like?
Well, I'll tell you what we're doing now.
Great.
That I'm excited about is that something you preach all the time is about building your own platform. And what Dale's referring to is that when Facebook is a platform, okay? YouTube is a platform, but we don't own that platform, we rent a space on it. And so at any time they can kick us off that platform. There's been Facebook groups that have been shut down as a result, if something's gone wrong in the group. And also Facebook groups, it's very hard to manage because Facebook decides what content the members are going to see. Yes. You don't get to decide that. So we will put a post out and hardly anyone in the group will see it. And we've got 54,000 people in our Facebook group. And maybe they might show it to 800 people. And so that's been so frustrating for us because we'll put all this effort in creating this group. So what we're doing now is we've started our own platform. We're in the testing mode at the moment. And we've built it on a network called Mighty Networks. Really interesting. And so Mighty Networks is a community software. So it's kind of like running your own version of Facebook. You run it on your own website. And you can also set up courses on there as well and sell courses to your people as well. And so in the last month, I've been intensively building that, setting it up. And we've had our first people coming onto it now, and questions are starting to roll. And so we're building our own platform. That's fantastic. And in terms of sales, do you have a goal around where you kind of want to get to? Look, I think this year we're heading towards 5 million, it looks like. Yep, for the year. Yep. which is absolutely incredible. Mind-blowing. Like I was listening to your intro before when you're doing the Facebook Live, and I'm like, yeah, he's talking about me.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel like he's talking about me, but it is. It just grew. It just happened. So we're heading towards, my goal is a $10 million company. I don't know what's after that, but a $10 million company. So we're already going to hit 5 this year. So I've got to work out how do we double it. We're going to need bigger warehouses. We're going to need more staff. We're going to need, more ads. We're going to need more community.
Fantastic. Looking forward to helping you on the journey. It's going to be very, very exciting. So this is your opportunity to say thank you to Brian for coming in and sharing his knowledge and wisdom with all of you. And that's one of the cool things about becoming a Business Blueprint member is when you do, you'll actually be able to hang out with people like Brian 4 or 5 times a year when we get together for our live events and conferences. There are superstars everywhere, and you get the to chat to them and ask questions and go for a beer and just like talk and get basically help from people that have been there and done it before you. So the program itself is amazing. All the resources, all the education is world class, and we pride ourselves on giving you the actual steps that you need to build the business of your dreams, whatever that is. But then it's also the community of like-minded entrepreneurs that you're going to be surrounded by you to achieve your full potential. So just as we wrap up, I just would love for you to type into the chat right now. There's lots of thank yous coming in, huge praise. So thanks again to Brian. But I want to know, what was one of your biggest takeaways from this interview? One of the things that you was going to stick with you, something that inspired you, or something that you're going to now implement into your business? Go ahead and type that into the chat right now. What's one key takeaway or one thing that you learnt? It was all about taking action. Love that. Margins, knowing your margins.
I'm waiting for someone to say flirt with more people.
Yes, or diversification. Yes, good idea. Don't be scared of thinking big. Leverage the power of your list. Flirt with more people. There it goes. Yes, flirting too. Markups are required for that safety sort of margin in your business as well. Yes. Taking chances. Getting the basics right, and then cost per acquisition, return on investment, and tight maths awareness. I like that one. Nice. Yes. And fearless. Beautiful. I like the marketing strategies and also about the 4 to 5 times markup on the cost of the actual product. And start it like a hobby, then you won't be too stressed about it. You'll just have fun and enjoy it. So we're almost time for us to wrap up. Your next step is just to decide, do you want to continue to build your business on your own without the help or support or community that you need, or do you want to get a coach, be part of an amazing group of people that are all growing and helping each other to succeed? That's exactly what the Business Blueprint program is all about. Now, I'm not going to run you through all the details right now. All you need to do is take the first step, and that's to go to this website right now, businessblueprint.com/apply. Just fill out a simple form, and then on the next screen, you can book a time to chat. You can also download all of the information around the Business Blueprint program so you can see exactly what is involved. And if you look at the investment, I know it was a big decision when Brian first got started, but if you compare that to the returns, the amount of money that Brian has made in the last 5 years, it's insignificant compared to the returns that you can make in terms of your business. And once you have this knowledge, you can leverage off it for the next 5, 10, 20 years, and you're going to make millions and millions of dollars by investing in yourself. And I really love that analogy that you made before as well. We do everything for our kids and we give them the best of everything, but you are giving yourself the best of everything in terms of your education, because ultimately by you growing your business, that's going to ultimately serve your kids and your family and everyone else as well. So I really love that analogy there. So still to come in the Business Blueprint 3 more great days of training. We've got one coming up around systems tomorrow. Systems are a really big part of your success, so we're going to talk about that in detail tomorrow at 10 a.m. Don't miss that session. because it is probably one of the most important things that you could do in your business. You'll discover all about it tomorrow. Then we have a whole session around people, and then another one on money and finance as well. So we have 3 more great sessions to go with me, and then we have another 3 more great interviews that we have coming up, all with people like Brian that have done amazing things in their business. And all you need to do is make sure you've registered by going to businessblueprint.com/summit. And then you can click on a button and it takes all of the dates and puts them into your diary, and then all you need to do is show up. All right, Brian, I'm going to pass it back to you. Any kind of final words of wisdom before we close out this presentation?
Words of wisdom. I should have prepared something.
What would be the biggest sort of takeaway? I suppose for me, it's really what I love about you is that you get an idea and you just go, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to give it a crack, put it into action, and I'm going to see the results. Just tell us a bit about it, because a lot of people I think that I meet, they overthink things, or they procrastinate, or they get too many ideas and then they do nothing. So tell us about why, because many people have heard of great ideas or have thought, oh, I could do this or I could do that, but most people don't follow through. Why have you been someone that says, you know what, I'm just going to do it?
Yeah. I guess that relates to the whole idea of being an entrepreneur. And I don't know where I heard it, just recently someone was saying basically that entrepreneurs are special people. And because they make things happen. They create things out of nothing. So they start with an idea, they have enough either stupidity or they're brave, to actually give it a go and not worry what other people think. That's the big thing. Whereas other people, they're afraid of everybody pulling them down or criticizing them, or they're afraid of failing. And whereas an entrepreneur's mind goes, yeah, I might fail, but I'll find my way out of it. You made a comment one time that was very good. Dale goes, I'm not afraid of having no money because I know how to create it again. So, and that has a lot of depth to it. When you've been in the program a lot longer, you'll understand what that means. But I'm the same. So I'm not afraid of not having money now, because I've got enough knowledge that I could create something new and run with it again. And that's the excitement of the entrepreneurial journey. And a lot of people can't do it. So if it's in you, you need to run with it.
That's the thing I love most about education, is once you have the skills, no one can ever take them away from you, and you can do it over and over again. And I know that you've now been able to do some wonderful things with your family as well. So by you becoming successful in business, you can ultimately impact a lot more people. Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Brian, for being here. I really appreciate it. And I want to say well done for your commitment right now to your business and expanding your mind, increasing your knowledge around what is possible. But the biggest takeaway of all from this presentation is you need to be someone that takes action. And that's exactly what Brian did. He basically saw an opportunity and went for it. And the best action that you can take right now is investing in yourself, investing in your education, because what we have Blueprint is a structured program where we give everything that you need to succeed all in one place. We have templates, blueprints, checklists for everything. I'm not going to go through it all right now, but it is amazing. So if you really want to step up, take your business to the next level, you want to make more money and have more time with the people that you love, then make sure you go to the website right now, businessblueprint.com/apply, complete the form, and then let's have a chat. All right, thanks so much everyone for being here. We've got plenty more to come in the Business Blueprint Summit. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow and continuing the journey. Bye for now, and we'll see you soon.